Machakos forms the basis of our conversation this evening on Checkpoint. You're speaking to Gabriel MUTHUMA, who's a political analyst. We also have Ambrose WEDA, who's a good legal mind and a political analyst as well. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening on Checkpoint. So let's pick up from Muribi Mwangi's story. WEDA, let me begin with you. This is a big deal for Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka. He has to make sure this seat comes back to Wiper. What are the stakes?
Yeah, I think it would really be embarrassing to him if he does not win the seat, if this party does not win. Unfortunately, he made a very poor choice that brings up emotions. Picking somebody's ex-wife is like you are communicating a totally different message to your enemy. I'm not saying the lady is not qualified. If you have left one another, she's qualified to run, she's qualified. But the way she was also picked, it was not through a proper nomination process. It was some boardroom discussion. So you wonder, where were they discussing? How did they know each other to discuss and be in love so much that you are given the coveted ticket? Because the Wiper ticket is a higher premium in Ukambani than this other ticket. So, but he has to retain the seat for the sake of his image, for the sake of his 2022 elections, and so he'll do much. The other candidates, like my good friend Governor Mutua,
Alfred Mutua.
So Alfred has a good candidate, but he has also gone into this dancing. He is not.
What's wrong with dancing, WEDA?
Dancing. This one. Yeah, they are supposed to come in to trailblaze, to go round and dust. Now that it is dry in Ukambani, there should be dust all over, and they should be pouring money also. But they are stingy also. They're just dancing kidogo. So remembering that they have to wrestle this from Honorable Kalonzo.
But maybe dancing is his style.
The son of Sugoi has told them that you must push wheelbarrows with something. On the other hand, the wheelbarrow people, they are making inroads. For them, even 5,000 votes will be like, you see? Yeah,
it's not in their back anyway.
You see, but we also dare them, because they'll be saying, Wiper or Mutua, if there was something in Washingishu, let's see
how
yourselves.
How many votes
you can get, whether you will even have candidates. So it is for Kalonzo. It is his to lose, and it should have been for Mutua to win. But I think he has taken a trajectory. I think this wearing suit trajectory, he should have gone for training, tutelage under Honorable Raila Odinga and Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and the chief chicken seller, and then he would change. That kind of, they are cold. If they can't, now Nani is free, Sonko is free. He should teach them how to do a dabra-kadabra jump, wear this thing and wear that necklace and do that. That's what people are, the young people.
Yeah.
The Facebook generation, the Twitter, that's what they love. They don't love that dancing suit. No.
But is it about that or what you're bringing to the table?
My dear, when you are going, you've seen birds.
Yes.
You have seen animals. When they want to seduce, they display themselves, they run like this, they go around. You don't go too much about it. Even a lady, you go there with bling, and if you have the keys or the name of a vehicle. I saw a vehicle my brother came with, and I actually saw where the Kemsa farms went. So you put it, you park that vehicle near the lady, and then you say, "Hi, Muthuma, can we have coffee?" You have to display yourself. That's how God made us. So them, they are not doing dabra-kadabra.
Muthuma, which card did you come with?
Forget WEDA. I think it was better when he was in Kisumu.
No.
When he was here in Kisumu. Forget WEDA. Linda, let me tell you.
Which card did you come with? Let's answer that question first of all.
If you don't mind, comes the funds. Please ask Muthuma.
I came with a tiny vehicle and he saw it. You see, first of all, I think the battle for the senatorial seat in Machakos is all about supremacy.
Okay.
And you have three people that have gotten a front row ticket to show who will be the kingpin. Now, if you analyze them closely and you start with Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, let's face it, he's been out of the political limelight for some time now, and I believe it's going to 10 years.
Yes.
The person who's actually been on the ground is Governor Mutua. Remember, Wakili, Governor Mutua has beaten Wiper twice.
So he stands a chance despite what WEDA says.
He knows the ground. And that's why I think he may have went for a very qualified leader for that seat, Katuko. Now, you have to realize that these candidates, all of them, it is actually being rumored that they come from Mwala, all the three of them. Mwala being a place where they have a huge block of voters who may actually tilt that seat to each of their advantage. All of them, I have to be clear. I have to be clear. The three of them, forget the rest. I think this...
It's a three-horse race.
It's a three-horse race.
Okay.
All of them, as we speak, they have a mathematical chance of getting that seat. But now, remember, Linda, the campaigns have been halted, which means they have to devise ways of going door to door, which is what UDA and our good friend from Untitled Chapter have been doing.
They've been going door to door.
They've been going door to door. And that's why I'm telling you, there is something Governor Mutua knows when it comes to winning. Because he's beaten Wiper twice. Now, the other thing, why I'm calling it a supremacy, it's between Kalonzo Musyoka, Honorable Muthuma, and Governor Mutua. Those are the people who are trying to position themselves, one of them as the next kingpin. Because whoever wins this seat...
Who stands the better chance from where you sit?
Well, at this point, everybody has used their own way of getting support. And many people will come and tell you, oh, by-election doesn't matter. On this one, it really does matter. And that's why I think everybody has used their own unique way of trying as much as possible to get out there and show everybody that, you know what, I am the person. I mean, look, Linda, there's no much time when you get that seat. You have roughly...
a year and a half?
Not even a year and a half. What are you talking about? You have less than 8 months before you get deep core into the campaign mode for 2022. So you won't even have time to say cut and a half. And that's why I'm saying this seat for Machakos is about supremacy. So now, if you are to gauge each person individually, yes, Kavindu comes also with a great advantage being among the 16 people who are selected to spearhead BBI. So she also brings in some element, a wealth of knowledge, you know, that also makes her a good candidate. When you look at somebody like former Assistant Minister Waziri, Katuko, if you compare the three of them, you will find he's the most qualified in that he knows his politics. He's been a former minister. So he actually knows how to knock. And with like the NAT from Machakos is supporting him. The Gamer Group, they are supporting him. So that just tells you he knows which buttons to push. Then in comes NGENGELE. Many people think he's a greenhorn. He's not.
He's not.
He's already known how to attract young people. Look at all the places that he's gone. You have a very youthful crowd every time he goes. So everybody is holding a very, a kind of good position, a good vantage, that it will come down to the wire. But we cannot fail to emphasize that Machakos is a supremacy battleground.
I like how you say it's between three people. It's between Muthuma, it's between Governor Mutua, and it's between Kalonzo Musyoka. WEDA, UDA have a candidate there. What are the chances of UDA winning this by-election? And even if they don't win, someone was saying, look, if UDA can manage to get just a few votes, then that would say something. It's not in their backyard. It's way, I mean, miles away from the owners of UDA. If they were to get even a little vote, a few votes, that would say something.
Yes, they're not just going to get a few votes. I think they're going to get quite a chunk of votes.
What would that translate to?
In Ukambani, they are not that negative. They are not that deeply there, deeply here. They are very moderate.
Swing vote, you'd say?
Not swing votes. I live in Ukambani, and I can tell you, they are not that extreme. Like you'd go into Luo Nyanza, where we come from, and if you are with Uhuru, they say you are a total enemy. If you are with Baba, you are the blessed from the heaven. No, they are not that. That's why last time I told you, there'll be no violence here. The way you saw in Western, because the police were biased. There'll be no such violence.
Those are your sentiments, and you know that actually ended up creating a spark between Interior Cabinet Secretary and the Deputy President, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah,
you still believe the police...
is still biased. The Deputy President is a boss to the Interior Cabinet Secretary. So when you go and fight your boss, you are overzealous.
Whether that's conversation that's coming our way,
yes.
and you still maintain... Okay.
Yes, so let me tell you,
yeah.
The battle here is UDA is just trying to provoke these people, tell them we are around. You have to recognize we are around and there's nothing you can do. And we are going to get some votes. And if they were left to give the Saulian chance to have gone there and done a dabra-kadabra and maneno and propaganda, but now he has suspended the rallies. But he will still be there. He would still want to go and distribute wheelbarrows. The real turf is between Honorable Kalonzo and Muthuma's wife and Governor Mutua. And that is, as I've said, the choice of the lady. The lady is good, but that choice brings in a lot of negative baggage that then gives Muthuma some leverage. It then elevates Muthuma to a level where they can now have a tiff directly with Kalonzo. And then they also get some sympathy. People are like, you fight your brother, now you even get the ex-wife to humiliate, to embarrass him. But it is still his to lose. It is his seat to lose, both in terms of the old seat, but even now, he's still a big leader. He's still a respected leader. Mutua is building himself, but I've told you that there is the Mutua face as the governor. That even me, as Ambrose WEDA, I love so much. He is a good governor, one of the best. When you look at the jokers we have had all over this country calling themselves governor, then you look at Mutua and you say, even as a presidential material, he is a good material. But then there's also Mutua now, the budding Kamba leader. When you talk to Kambas, they tell you, now that Mutua, your friend, where is his home? Where does he live? You have to answer so many questions. So many questions. So he could be still good in Ukambani town, but Ukambani is beyond Machakos County. Ukambani Kitu is bigger, Makueni is bigger. So he has still a long way to build himself. Which way also he is too official. Too official. Too well minted. He's governor material. But now going around requires the adabra-kadabra of the likes of Sonko, the likes of Sauliam, the chief chicken seller, the propaganda of Honorable Raila. You see the people who have come up. They always come with something extra. Something. You see Baba came out of hospital just the other day and is already on treadmill, showing people, you can see. People want some games because it's the city is too quiet.
Okay. But let me ask you, Gabriel. Alfred Mutua has declared his interest in the presidency 2022. And like you say, his candidate is a strong candidate. Yes. If his candidate wins.
Well, if that...
Is that it for Kalonzo Musyoka?
Well, you know, Governor Mutua has not hidden those cans. They've actually been in plain sight that he wants to be the next kingpin for Ukambani. He's not hidden that. And he believes... You remember what we spoke last Sunday about the young lions? Yes. Yeah? All of them being governors. He looks at it from point that he has time on his side. Because the other person who comes from the greater Ukambani, who is probably wishing to be on that presidential notice board, is Kivutha Kibwana. All right? He's also made, you know, in probably simpler terms, he's one person who I believe may actually try his luck into that seat. The other thing which we should, again, not put far behind us, Linda, is if you look at how, where Kalonzo Musyoka has been, and this is why I call, sometimes for somebody his caliber, is not good to be out of power, per se. Because already the seats that matter, like the Kitui gubernatorial seat, it did not go to Wiper. Yeah. The Machakos one did not go to Wiper. The one for Makueni did not go to Wiper. Those are the seats that matter.
He's losing grip?
Yes. The seat that he got, the gubernatorial seat that he got was 48 at Taveta, if I'm not wrong. So that just goes on to tell you, there is something about that locale. They pay too much premium on the individual rather than the parties. And that is why you'll find a place like Machakos town. You've had somebody who can change parties as many times as possible, but still become elected.
Still, yes.
Honorable Munyaka, right? He's actually a Jubilee candidate, and he won. He was, I think, when he came with DP, the Democratic Party, I think he won. So they've paid too much premium on the individual rather than the party. And I believe these are some of the things that the likes of Muthuma have seen. We were told just the other day, and Muthuma has put it plainly, and Honorable Kalonzo has never refused. Yeah. He says, I was the financial muscle behind Wiper, behind Kalonzo Musyoka.
And now there's a power tussle between the two.
Between the two. Whether it is because of Kavindu, the candidate, we do not know, even though it played, the scenario played in a way where...
They almost fought at some point in the church.
Of course. It played out badly. And I hope someday, after all is said and done, these two great Kamba leaders will be able to sit together and still talk to each other. Because, you know, at the end of the day, the relevance and the premium that we hold in politics fades with time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Linda, at some point, if President Uhuru Kenyatta and the person of Honorable Raila Odinga can sit together, if we could see people who we thought were sworn enemies, still at the end of the day, they are able to sit together and come back together and be able to be united by the true spirit of being Kenyan, then I think we hope and pray that someday that will happen. But again, I repeat and I reiterate, the senatorial seat for Machakos is between those three leaders. That is where the game is.
WEDA, as we wrap up this conversation about Machakos, President Uhuru Kenyatta banned political rallies for 30 days. And I was speaking to some analysts and they're saying, look, this is the one election that will tell you the true heart of the Machakos people, because there will be zero campaigns, a few days to this for this by-election. And the outcome of this by-election will tell you who really, really has the heart of Machakos away from the campaigns.
I don't know where you are getting that from. How many times has the president banned this political rally? Then he immediately finishes reading the statement. Yeah. He is down there in Kwamako addressing a much more huge crowd. So you have to see what he has banned and then pray also that we go by what he obeys and other people obeys. And then one of the reasons why it may work is that Baba is out of play for now. And then the deputy president does not look like he's stealing the mic, so he's out of play for now. He actually
also cancelled all his political...
Otherwise, campaigns will continue and they are going on. Leave alone, let's say, these people, they meet in the markets and the people come. They're not going to church. Church, markets, everywhere, all this corner. So it will not be that people are going to decide because this time there's no campaign, there was whatever. The campaigns, the big rallies only go down when the big leaders decide to obey. Whether or not they decide to obey depends on how the president behaves and how the president thinks. If they think they are enemies, and now this time the enemy is the chief chicken seller, Saulia. If Saulia was to hold rallies, they'll be beaten up. But if Baba was to come out to thank people for praying for him when he was...
No, but the president said, irrespective of who you are.
He has said so before. He will say it again. I'm telling you, the last time I remember, he said something like that. Then he himself led a mammoth crowd near Kwamaiko, down there, Kariubang. He was there. Waving his left hand 3 times, 4 times, after. Yeah, so it's not the first time. I'm only saying the ban depends on who defies it. If Saulia was to defy, you'll see the full force of law. If Baba was to come out to thank us for praying for him when he was on hospital, we said those are prayers. You can't deal with them. So please, let's take this for what it is worth. These people are going on with campaigns. I think it may be not very loud if they are talking. Too much talk and too little benefits. What do I mean by that? I know Kalonzo is known to too much talk, a lot of order, but lakini ile kitu ya kuweka kwa mfuko hakuna. Then the governor, good policies, working hard, but he's also not known to have to be very kind in giving. He is good in policies and implementation. He's a good governor, good presidential material. So he's not a fellow that you would risk COVID to go and listen to. But I'm telling you, if the chicken seller was going around there, or Sir Mike Buvisonko calls a rally even today, hey, even me, I would say I must go and bless them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Whether even you.
Oh, yes.
Okay, listen, I want us to listen into an exchange of words that we witnessed this week between Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i and Deputy President William Ruto. And this is why it's a concern, because these are leaders in this country exchanging words left, right, center. Let's listen into that, then we have a conversation on where this is heading.
And the police service, the Constitution is very clear that the police is an independent service.
In the National Security Council, with the Inspector General of Police, then you go to criticize him at funerals.
Sisi tunafanyia Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta kazi, ndio rais wetu. Na rais akituamulisha vile kazi inafanywa, mimi na Kibicho tutafanya hiyo kazi vile rais ametuamulisha tufanye hiyo kazi.
Msiseme ya kwamba eti mumetumwa na rais muende muongee na madharau kwa wananchi. Mimi namjua Uhuru Kenyatta rais wetu. Ni mtu mungwana, ni mtu mpole, hajawahi kutumia madharau kwa wananchi.
Hata akitaka niseme tena, niseme kazi ya Mheshimiwa Rais iendelee. Mwenyewe anaweza fanya kazi hiyo, ni ile amekuwa amefanya kazi hiyo miaka 3, maendeleo tukapata, kwa hivyo kazi iendelee.
Muthuma, let me begin with you. This is a sitting Interior Cabinet Secretary and a Deputy President, and there's this exchange. What comes to mind?
First of all, I think it's unfortunate because those two individuals do actually meet at the cabinet. Yes. And I would have thought that such issues should be ironed out, therein. And I think, Linda, as we move along towards 2022, it is very clear that, and this is not me saying, countrywide, everybody knows that most of the functions that the Deputy President was doing were actually moved from him and given to the Interior CS. And true to the fact, he's been all over, and he has made it very clear that he only takes counsel from His Excellency the President, which is good because, if that counsel is coming directly from the head of state, then that's where it is. Now, I do not have the illusion that the Deputy President does not know this. And you've seen there are places where he has gone, nothing has been prepared, and what have you. Some of the issues that his camp has faced, probably when he's gone to campaign and what have you. But if you look at the nitty-gritties of that spot, it tells you that things are actually not in order. I would even doubt that when they meet in cabinet, they are able to talk one-on-one. I highly doubt. So it cannot be hidden anymore from Kenyans. It doesn't look good, though. It doesn't look good, but it cannot be hidden anymore when you are going to invoke the pecking orders or when you are going to invoke the protocol. But be as it may, the president actually announced himself that he is going to work with the people who are geared to delivering on his agenda. So that said, the person of CS Matiang'i, if he is following directives, they are coming from the top office. The top office. And that is why he says, I take orders from the head of state, and we work for him. And it is true to the fact, and I repeat again, the head of state is the one who said, you know what, I will work with only those people who are ready to work with me on finishing my agenda. That said, the only thing probably which we should not see is that spot playing out.
Yeah, playing out.
Playing out in the public, it is not good. But again, be as it may, His Excellency the President wants to complete most of the projects that he started out. So if whoever he chooses to work with, I mean, he has a bird's eye view on what needs to be accomplished. And on that one, you have to give it to him as a head of state.
Whether the president is looking for people to work with, but there are those who also say the Interior Secretary, Cabinet Secretary like MUTHUMA says, is doing this with the blessings of the president. So when you see that back and forth between these two leaders who actually sit in the Security Advisory Council, what goes through your mind?
First of all, sorry to say this, but I think it is indiscipline, it's bad manners on behalf of Matiang'i.
Even if he's doing it with the blessings of the president?
Matiang'i is an employee of the deputy president. You remember the days when the deputy president and the president were wearing the same tie and the same white shirt together, saying, we are choosing men and women, PhDs, small families. That, you remember that day in 2013, 2014?
Yes.
We were like, people like, where are we? PhDs and so on and so forth. That is the time when Matiang'i was invited on the table and said, now we have brought the cake. Come and chop it and you eat a bit. Now, along the way, the president and the deputy president have developed their own problems. Where the problems came from, we are yet to understand. We will need either to go to the mountain or we go to the Rift Valley, down under the valley, to be told. So, Honorable Matiang'i has work to do, and that work does not include showing disrespect to the deputy president of the Republic before he's removed or before he resigns. And he's not the first to be given such immense powers. We have seen leaders, even me in my young years, I have seen leaders who are given immense powers, yes, and they were talking on behalf of the president, and they still went under. We saw even when Honorable Raila used to say, who's to be given kapetinusu. The same people who gave him kapetinusu now came begging under him. I remember when the deputy president saying, I'm more senior than, not the deputy president, Honorable Kalonzo, when he was vice president, I'm more senior than the prime minister. Eventually, he had to go and kneel before Raila and say, oh, the son of Odinga, I can be your running mate. Please, 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 and you don't betray us. So what Matiang'i is doing is taking away the very good work he has done. Sometimes I look at him and to me he looks like a good presidential material. But coming up to abuse, insult the deputy president and do this and then claim that the president has said him, I really don't think President Uhuru would send anybody to say go and disrespect to so and so. That's not the president I know, unless he's talking about another one, a shadow one that he knows. There are also other cabinet secretaries. Why are they not disrespecting the deputy president? So I think the TIF is that Interior Cabinet Secretary wants to please some people. And how do you please these people? By disrespecting somebody they perceive as their enemy. So he is overplaying things, and that's why you saw in Western Kenya, the police were biased. And they were not just biased.
You actually said that last week.
They were not just biased from the Kenyan police are good, hardworking, very disciplined. Just a few of them collecting some toll stations along the road in form of bribes. Traffic police, just a few, but majority of them have given their life to defending us, to working. So when they choose to be biased and to do what they did in Western, somebody has told them. Now when you look at the conversations, then you say, who may have told them? It is Matiang'i who have told them. Now don't be neutral. Here, Finya. This CCS, I'm CS and then the CCS.
But you cannot say that with certainty that it was.
I can analyze. I'm an analyst. I am brilliant. I am a lawyer. In court, when somebody comes, you talk. Even if Matiang'i was there, you will finish talking and I would ask him questions. You'll be shocked, where did I get the answer? So this don't just happen from the blues. They happen because of a choice. And I would say, sitting here, Honorable Matiang'i, you have done so well. And I think, given the country, you can be a very good president. But you cannot be president without others. To continue the good work, leave out the disrespect, either to the deputy president. There was a time when Raila was outside, it was to Raila, then all these people to the rest. Just do the good work. Let's congratulate you. You are invited on the table and you have done a good work, but now pretending that you are the one ushering work for the president. You don't know where they disagreed, and you don't know the day they do the handshake. Where will you run to?
And they usually say that they're not permanent friends, they're not permanent enemies.
In fact, they're going to do the handshake. I can see it.
They're going to do what?
The handshake. I can see it. I seem to see it.
What are you seeing?
Just wait.
WEDA, what are you saying?
Just wait.
WEDA is an insider. WEDA is an insider. He's telling us.
He's not giving us the intel.
Well,
surely, WEDA.
He can't tell you. He just said, wait and see.
In fact, where we are today, Linda, do you know what God says? Jehovah, the King of Kings?
Amen.
Honor all men. Men, yes, men and women. Honor. Because you do not, who will make you king may not be necessarily capable of being king. Let me give you an example. Yes. There was a man called Naaman. Naaman was a senior leader, like the chief of general staff, commander of the armed forces of the republic of their time. Yeah. He had what was called leprosy. The fingers were just dropping day, like that. And in his house, he had a slave girl, maid, auntie. So he didn't know what to do because the fingers were dropping every day. Then the maid auntie said, I know. Someone, mchungaji, mwingine. He said, he ignored. Now when the last hand fell, he said, take me to that mchungaji. So he went to Prophet Elisha. Elisha did not even address him as, hey, general. Elisha just told him from far, can you want to wash yourself?
7 times.
Dip yourself. And he was like, this guy can't even welcome me. Here, with all my power and might, he says, I'm dirty, I go and wash myself. He did. When he went back, the same house girl told her, kama alisema uoge and aoga. Eventually, Naaman washed himself and he was healed. By who? House girl. So, even those who can make you president, Raila just woke up one day and said, Kibaki tosha, and it was game over. Him himself, he has been struggling to be president. His father has been struggling, he's struggling. I know, Linda, you can make Muthama here. Somebody big. That's why God says, honor all men.
And we've come from knowing Wakili WEDA to Pastor WEDA.
You know?
Yeah, when do you do the collections for your offering? No. What WEDA brings to the table is actually quite relevant.
And as you address that, tell me, do you think it has anything to do with, quote-unquote, presidential ambitions of the Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i? He has not pronounced himself on it yet, but C.S. Macharia talked a little bit about it.
Actually, two, if I'm not wrong, 2 CSs have actually, not 3 actually, have actually alluded to that fact. And every time he's around, when you go to Mount Kenya region, I've had CS Munya talk about it now. There was a time, I think the CS for Health mentioned something to that effect. And now CS Macharia. And you've just seen what Honorable Peter Kenneth has said. He really did not like that narrative.
Yeah.
And more than that, if we were to pay attention to some of that verbiage, and why I call it unfortunate is that it should not be happening at the same time when talking about the agendas of the president. Yes. Haven't you noticed of late, even the president has kept away from that politics of what you would call in Kiswahili uhasama? Haven't you noticed?
Perhaps he watches Checkpoint and you guys told him.
I think where the president has gotten or where he has reached, he realizes that how he finishes is just as strong and important as how he started. Because this is when people now not only define your legacy, but they define something stronger than a legacy called the culture. So from here on, we will be asking, what kind of culture did President Uhuru inculcate? And things like respect, things like love for country, things like understanding the sophisticated overtimes will come in. Things like honesty will come out. Because such cultures is when you go to places like Japan, their culture, they have an honest culture. Haven't you heard that?
Yes.
And when you come to ask Akina WEDA, what's the culture of Africa? Ukora, corruption, that's how we are known. Now imagine if 20, 30 years from now, we can talk like the culture of forgiveness that was left in South Africa by Nelson Mandela. You just imagine. So I believe with time, probably the head of state has realized. And that's why, watch him very carefully. He, I think, has moved from those poignant, heated political. And that's why he keeps repeating, naenda nyumbani, naenda nyumbani. And at this point, by the way, we are bound to believe him. We are bound to believe him. So I think most importantly is the CSS, like what they're saying, who have been hired courtesy of these two great leaders, because it's an administration that brought them together. They need to be very careful, and they need to weigh and watch their words.
Okay, WEDA. I know you talked about disrespect from Interior CS, but then one would also argue on the other side and say, look, all these men sit in the Security Advisory Council. The Deputy President had the chance, if at all, to speak to the Interior Cabinet Secretary and raise the issues he raised about police being misused in political arena. Is that an argument you'd buy?
No, I think the Deputy President, for now, has been edged out. So,
he doesn't.
No. So everybody wants to. In fact, some people are already thinking that if you want to police the president, you kick his deputy. You know, there are people sometimes. I go to hit your enemies very hard, and then to please you, not because I want to hit your enemy, but just to please say, hey, Linda, you saw what I did. That's exactly.
Yeah.
Just allow me to react to this thing about Matiang'i being president.
Okay.
There is Matiang'i, the education minister.
Matiang'i, the Interior Cabinet Secretary.
Matiang'i, the education minister, was a presidential material.
Oh, okay.
Matiang'i, the interior, comes out as provincial administration, as police, as army. Tell me where you have seen policemen being elected in this country. Tell me where you have seen PCs and chiefs and DOs being elected.
But there's not an equal chance.
Oh, I can tell you it comes from also a very small community. It needs a lot of support. It doesn't have the resources, the billions required to be poured in. And already he has shown the country that it can be very rough. He can be another Magufuli. And in this is the same studio when Magufuli came and people were saying, Magufuli, we love Magufuli. I said, people who don't follow order, people who don't respect institutions, people who don't respect chain of authority. Any president who walks in, he walks into this studio and he says, Linda, how is your hair made? Sacked. Those chaotic people, even in heaven, they are not very popular. And that is when Interior Cabinet Secretary does not respect his deputy president, and then he's that rough. People who are outside like us say, suppose he became president, with this authority he's having. Kenya, we are still very timid. That explains to you why Moi ascended to power and nobody revolted. We say, he looks meek, he looks weak, he looks like a passing cloud. And he sat there. And when he sat, he kicked a few people, he detained others, and we are saying, this man is rough, he's failing us. When his time to leave came, he chose my friend, my president, the son of Ngina, as his successor. And you know what was the tiff people had against him? Moi wants to use him to continue dictating the country. Therefore, we will not allow it. So people like Honorable Raila were cornered. They were like, Moi wants to continue, we are finished. So what did they do? They could not go for Nyachai because that's provincial administration. May God rest his soul in eternal peace and may we meet in eternal glory when the King of Kings returns. The others, even Honorable Raila was very popular. People were like, but he can also be violent and arrogant and rude. So who looked harmless? Harmless. Kibaki. He looked harmless. As Raila rushed him and said, Kibaki talk, he became president. So when we are now going for Honorable Raila in 2007, people had seen that he had mellowed down. He was not the kind who detained people and crushed people. So Honorable Matiang'i may have to come out as a CS and cool our fears for another 10 years, serving as another education CS, serving as something else, and people like WEDA also pastoring him and saying, Jehovah be. Then we say, now he's not hot-tempered. And that is the same problem facing the deputy president. There are people who fear him. They're like, this one is hothead. This one can crush people. In fact, part of his opposition is not that he has done so much wrong, but there are people who think, if he leaves, If Uhuru leaves and this guy comes up, the way he's so eloquent, the way he's so consummate, where will we go? Will we have to run to Uganda or wherever? So again, he may also say, that's why we are saying, maybe another 10 years, the temperature's cool, and he becomes accommodative. We insult him and he laughs. That is therefore, so my brother Matiang'i, please, that disrespect, that grandiose talk, it is scaring some people. Go slow on that, continue the good work, respect the president, the whole chain of authority, and it shall be well. You will be blessed.
Okay. I want to say something?
Yeah, you know, I was actually, there's something that WEDA has mentioned. You know, when you look historically, and this is not only in Kenya, but more or less globally, the people who've made a mark, serious mark in leadership, have always been subtle leaders. And you can go as far as you choose to look, whether you are looking at the likes of Lee Kuan Yew, you know, whether you're looking at the likes of Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, whether you choose to look at the likes of Nelson Mandela, whether you need to look at the likes of Gandhi, Barack Obama, just to mention. All these were subtle leaders who did wonders, right? At time, the Magufulification of what people talk about, you come, Kifua and everything, historically that has never worked. And that's why you will find people always go for subtle leaders,
like what
mellow, because they believe in, more than anything, character and wisdom. And not only that, the aspect of listening more. We were taught that when I entered college, and I never understood it until somebody mentioned. He said, when you look, Wakili, at the word silent and listen, they make the same letters.
Make the same letters.
So the people who are subtle will always listen. And when they listen, they will be silent. But those that come Kifua, you go my way or the highway, they've never made good leaders throughout history if you start by one Adolf Hitler.
Oh, okay. All right, so...
And Idi Amin, so to speak.
Let's wait and see how this goes, but I hope they've listened, because those are two leaders that a lot of people look up to in this country. One is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, and the other one is the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i. Listen, gentlemen, I need to let you go, but before we do that, ODM leader Raila Odinga was admitted at Nairobi Hospital for a couple of days. There was a video doing rounds today in the morning. He actually tweeted it. I want us to take a look at it. Then you, because he forms a big chunk of our conversation here on Checkpoint, wish him well. I can release you guys. Then we move on. Can we look at that? The ODM leader, Raila Odinga.
You're back home.
Oh, yes, sir.
How are you feeling after all those days?
Wonderful.
You're back home.
Oh, yes, sir.
How are you feeling after all those days?
Wonderful. It feels so nice to be back home. You know?
I'll keep my distance
I
from
was like, you know, a prison back. And it's nice to be in fresh air, see the greens, you know, around here. You know, even though I'm still in isolation, but at least I can see the nature.
You're like a leper.
Yeah. I come from a leper island.
Yeah, that's ODM leader Raila Odinga, discharged from Nairobi Hospital. He tested positive for COVID-19. And I'm giving these two gentlemen a chance to wish him well. Why? Because he forms a big percentage of the conversation we have here. He's a political leader that shapes half the conversation in this country. Muthuma, I'll start with
Let
you.
me tell you, if there's one thing you can never wish away, is what Raila brings to the table. And when he's okay, and by the way, we have to congratulate him that he was actually able to tell the doctors, no, release.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Release that report. Let Kenyans know that this COVID is real. And I'm really, it was quite an eye-opening and visit away, if I may, from the usual razzmatazz of you don't know what somebody is ailing from. So really, I give this to Honorable Raila for coming out and saying this is what it is. I'm taking care of myself. I have moved actually out of hospital. Now I'm home. I'm continuing to feel better. And not only that, there is something also that he brought to the play. You know, with people just sending the good greetings that we've done. You saw even His Excellency, you know, Deputy President, you know,
yeah,
he
tweeted.
also tweeted. And that's why I keep saying you cannot take away what Honorable Raila brings to the table. And if at one point he would actually engage, I would love to hear his story when he sits down and tells us how COVID
what happened,
how COVID came to play. And I know many people have said it came from Mombasa.
But you need to buy tomorrow's newspaper, Standard newspaper. That story is there.
He got the story there. I will read that story 3 times. And you know, but more than that, I think as much that as we continue praying for him, we also must be mindful to the COVID protocols.
Yes.
We agree that this third variant is not easy.
It's not
we need to up our game in sanitizing, wearing our masks, and social distancing. I think we need to go back to where we were earlier this year. Oh,
and don't mind my cough. No, don't mind my cough.
You know, I can move. But on that, we wish you well, bright Honorable Raila Odinga. Speedy recovery.
Whether you get the final
In
say.
that there is this thing people say, we are praying for you, and they are not praying. Normally, I
What do you mean they're not praying?
Which people are you talking about,
Wakili?
Wakili?
For you, they are not praying.
Yeah.
Normally, I meet my God at 4 a.m. every morning. I rise up and I pray for, you tarry for about 1 hour. And you pray for many things. One of the leaders I pray for is President Kenyatta. I pray for the deputy president. And now I've been praying for their unity so that they stop treating us to this githeri that they mixed with the stones. And now they want us to eat by force. In that prayer, I always pray for leaders who have a voice in this country.
Yep.
Because they keep this country moving. Especially also, we have also a very special history with Honorable Raila. We have disagreements on certain things, but in my heart, he's a great leader. And this time, and even when he was in Dubai, I always remember him specifically in prayer, direct asking God, God, may you restore his physical health so that he may come back and we continue playing the way we have been playing. He's played a role, he continues to play a role. So when I see him coming out, we thank God that this COVID attack, he is able to come out, because at his age and stage, you actually always need to pray when you hear that a person is, because it is very easy. In just 1 minute, many things would change. So we thank God seeing him out. But above all, as I would qualify to be his elder son, I must also say, Daddy, you have been careless. You have tempted fate.
All of them, actually.
Yeah.
All of them.
You see, if William Ruto is careless, he's young, he can cough his way out. But Mzee, now, these are now the over-vulnerable group. So when you see him dancing with all sorts of people, Yoho, Sijui Nani, Sijui Babu, we know, all these things, you sometimes say, this is our Mzee. What's wrong with him? If he was the Nyaunyo category, he would have gone there with Nyaunyo, say Mzee Kando. So even his brother, younger brother, President Uhuru, has not been very helpful, because he sees him going that and he encourages him as he beats others. So we must also say that Baba has also been careless and has given a bad example. And as a consequence of their rallies, I know the other Kenyans who have been affected. And those who, yes.
The people who've given a bad example
yes.
in terms of the COVID-19 protocol
yes.
begins with President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Correct.
Deputy President William Ruto.
Correct.
And Raila Odinga.
Correct. So as we pray for them, we also pray, I've always prayed as Jehovah, the King of Kings. May you imbue these people with wisdom and power of discernment to know that they can go to Dubai and America and wherever for visa vaccination. Yeah. But the Wanjiku will die in private isolation in their single room in Dandora. Okay. Therefore, these people. So I am praying for his quick recovery. I'm either praying to God that he may be more careful, and fellow Kenyans, be more careful, so that even if you are to catch it, don't look back and say, I wish I had not done it. Just say, I had to do this, and it is for the sake of the rest.
That's a perfect place to end this conversation. Thank you, gentlemen, for being part of Checkpoint this evening. Ambrose WEDA, Gabriel MUTHUMA, always a pleasure hosting you. WEDA, if you're traveling to the village, you tell us now for next Sunday.
You know, these disagreements. They made now our choppers, they are no longer available. But we will arrange. We used to have choppers all over.
All right, stay with me. Listen, people, I want us to take a look at